Mom and Dad were furious. They said they'd forgive me if I apologized. But why should I be the one to make amends? I can't see myself getting along with people who would say something like that. I've decided I'm never going to see them again. Don't be ridiculous, I said. If that's your attitude, I'm divorcing you. Leave. Actually, I was about to leave anyway, he replied. My name is Jade and I'm a 30-year-old office worker. Recently, my boyfriend Harry proposed to me. We met at a meetup for online gamers, and he's 7 years older than me. He's kind, accepting, and understands how important my work is to me. He gives me the space I need, which I really appreciate. However, now that he's proposed, I'm unsure what to do. I hadn't really considered marriage before. It feels like a binding commitment, and I worry it might take me away from my work, which I love. I don't have hobbies, and I'm not sure what to do on my days off. My previous boyfriends left me because they couldn't handle my focus on work. They expect me to adjust my schedule for their work. They'd say, men want to be in control and expect women to handle housework. That's why I never saw marriage as a happy ending. Harry's proposal is different. I asked him if he really understands that I'm not quitting my job. Of course not, he said. We can share housework, and if we don't have much time together because of work, that's fine with me. I've lived alone for a long time and I'm used to it. I also have hobbies and know how to spend time on my own. Why do you want to marry me then? I asked. It's just that, despite everything you've said, I don't want you to be with anyone else. Even if we only see each other on weekends or live apart, I want us to be officially married. I want us to make a lifelong vow to love each other. It's a selfish request, but if you're not comfortable with marriage, we can consider common law marriage instead. His understanding and willingness to compromise made sense to me. I realized I could manage married life with him without changing who I am. So I decided to marry Harry. When I told my family and friends, they were all shocked, especially since I had previously said I had no intention of getting married. My mother was in tears, overwhelmed with happiness. It made me realize how much it meant to her. Despite always telling me to live my life as I wished, I knew she had always hoped to see me married. I'm overjoyed to see the smile on my mom's face. I'm glad I decided to get married. We've had our wedding and started our new life together as husband and wife. We've moved into our new house, unpacked, and sorted through all the complicated paperwork. Harry suggested we spend a night at his parents' house since they're hosting a family gathering this Saturday. I need to make sure I don't come off as rude, I said. Don't worry about it, Harry reassured me. My parents are quite elderly, and they'll probably see you more as a granddaughter than a daughter-in-law, so you don't need to be overly concerned. His words eased my anxiety a bit. I did want to make a good impression, so I agreed to join him at the gathering. I decided to call my mom to see if there was anything specific I should be aware of when visiting his family. Given that all the relatives would be there, I wanted to be prepared. Since my dad passed away when I was young, my mom has been my sole support. I love and respect her deeply, and I always turn to her for advice. Should I bring something with me? I asked. Yes, she replied. It's a good idea to offer to help with the preparations, but don't overdo it. If they need assistance, be ready to do what they ask. Also, don't forget to bring some gifts. Got it. Thanks, Mom, I said, feeling much more at ease after our conversation. I'm confident that everything will go smoothly. On the day we head to Harry's parents' house, I'm ready to make a positive impression and embrace this new chapter in our lives. I felt completely prepared as Harry drove us to his parents' house. After about 40 minutes, we arrived. It had been since the wedding that I had seen my in-laws and the extended family. Harry had assured me they were all looking forward to meeting me, which eased my nerves and made me excited. Upon arrival, I could hear the lively chatter of the relatives inside, and it seemed they might already be dining. Harry led me into the living room where we were warmly greeted. Oh, you're here. Come in. Come in. his parents said, inviting us to join them. "Sit down, let's toast once more." Harry's parents appeared a bit tipsy but cheerful. We settled in and enjoyed our drinks. I took out the gift I had brought for them. "Oh, thank you so much," they said. "Is there anything we can help with?" I pulled out my apron ready to assist. No, there's no need," they insisted. "Just relax and enjoy yourself." I was slightly surprised by their insistence that I should simply enjoy the evening. Harry's parents, who are quite elderly, his mother is 68 and his father is 72, seemed to treat me as if I were their granddaughter, just as Harry had mentioned. We continued with dinner and then Harry's mother came over to chat. "Here's another beer," she said, handing me a drink. "The wedding was wonderful, wasn't it?" I thanked her, but then she added something unexpected. "If I had one complaint," she said, "it would be about your mother." I was taken aback. "What do you mean?" "Well, the scar on her face. It's rather hard to look at." My face fell as I processed her words. "Excuse me." The comment about my mother's scar really soured the festive atmosphere. Harry's mother's remark about how my mom's scar was noticeable, despite her efforts to cover it with makeup, felt like a cruel jab. "If I had a scar like that, I wouldn't have attended the wedding," she said. I was stunned. I couldn't believe she was insulting my mother. Then Harry's father joined in. "Well, it's understandable," he said. "You don't have a father, so having another parent at the wedding must have been awkward. Even with the scar, she had to come, even if it was embarrassing." I was incredulous. What on earth were they saying? My mother's scar was a result of a tragic accident. When I was a child, she had been sitting in the back seat with me for safety while my dad drove. A speeding car from the opposite lane crashed into us. My father swerved but ended up crashing into a pole, and he died on impact. To protect me, Mom shielded me with her body, and a shard of glass from the front window lodged into her face, causing severe injuries. It seemed Harry's parents didn't know this. I looked at Harry, who was aware of the details. His discomfort was palpable as he stared at his plate, eating silently. "You're not going to say anything?" I asked, feeling utterly betrayed. I was deeply disappointed in him. His parents were making fun of my mother, and he wasn't standing up for her. The fact that my in-laws were laughing and mocking my mother in front of the relatives was beyond unacceptable. I couldn't let this go. "Excuse me," I said, my voice firm. "Why would you say something like that? Didn't you even consider why my mother has that scar?" Their surprise was evident, and the room fell into an uneasy silence. The relatives watched in stunned silence, taken aback by my outburst. "She got that scar while protecting me during the accident where we lost my dad," I continued. "If she hadn't shielded me, I could have been seriously injured or worse." I shook my head, feeling disgusted. Making fun of someone's scars without knowing their story is incredibly childish. "I'm sorry, but I'm going home," I said, turning on my heel. The room was thick with discomfort. My in-laws' faces were flushed with embarrassment, and Harry stared at me, his mouth agape. I left the house and caught a cab to the station, then took a train back home. When I arrived, I decided to gather my things and prepare to leave. But since it was already late and I had been drinking, I spent the night at home. The next morning, I waited for Harry to return. I wanted to leave as soon as possible, but I decided it was better to talk to him first before making any final decisions. When he arrived, he looked furious. He threw his bags down and glared at me. "What was that last night?" he demanded. "You embarrassed me and my parents." "Your parents are the ones to blame," I shot back. "They insulted my mother in front of everyone. You know why she has that scar, and you didn't even try to defend me." "That's not what I'm talking about," Harry interrupted. "First, you need to apologize for embarrassing me and my parents." "What do you mean that's not what you're talking about?" I retorted. "If your parents hadn't acted so rudely, none of this would have happened." "You're insulting my parents again," he said, his tone accusing. "That's not what I'm doing," I replied, frustrated. "I'm standing up for my mother and calling out their unacceptable behavior." I'm just stating the facts, I said, trying to explain. Mom and Dad were really angry, but they said they'd forgive you if you apologized. They're being so generous, Harry replied. You should be grateful. Grateful? I snapped. Why should I be the one to apologize? I don't think I can get along with people who say things like that. I'm never going to see them again. Don't be ridiculous, Harry said, his voice rising. If that's how you feel, then I'm divorcing you. Get out. Fine, I was just about to leave anyway, I said, grabbing the bags I had already packed. So you intended to leave? Harry asked, surprised. Yes, I confirmed. Because your family treated me terribly. Okay then, Harry said, pulling out a set of papers and slamming them onto the table. I have something to show you. He had already filled out the divorce papers, and his parents had signed as witnesses. It was clear they had discussed this and decided that if I didn't comply, he would present me with these papers. Unbelievable. I wanted nothing to do with them. So you think threatening me with divorce will make me apologize? I asked, bewildered. Exactly, Harry said. If you're sorry at all, we're going back to my parents' house right now to make amends. I couldn't understand why he thought this was an effective way to deal with the situation. I picked up my divorce papers and bags and left the house without saying another word. Harry's cries followed me, but I ignored them. I returned to my mom's house, feeling a sense of relief as I walked through the door. I submitted the divorce papers on the way home. That meant I was completely done with Harry. When I arrived back at my mom's house, she was surprised to see me but quickly grew somber as I explained what happened. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault, I said, feeling defeated. If you say that again, she warned, I'm going to get angry. You're the person I love and respect the most. If anyone insults you, I'm not forgiving them, whether it's my husband or his parents. Thank you, Mom, I said, feeling comforted. A few days later, Harry reached out to me multiple times, but I ignored him. It wasn't long before he showed up at my doorstep. I didn't want to let him in, so we talked at the entrance. Will you please respond to me? You need to come home right now, he pleaded. Why should I? I countered. I have nothing to do with you anymore. What do you mean? He asked, confused. I submitted the divorce papers, I said firmly. What? Harry's eyes widened. We're no longer husband and wife, I explained. Don't be ridiculous. Why would you do that? He demanded. You were the one who prepared the papers. It was just up to me to submit them, I replied. I was only trying to threaten you, he stammered. What does it matter? Why would you fill out the divorce papers just to threaten me? Asked incredulously. I can't believe this, he said, his voice rising. I'm going to register the marriage again. Well, I'm not signing anything, I said firmly. Besides, it's too late now. I've already submitted the documents to prevent you from doing that, I said firmly. No way, Harry replied, his voice faltering. He seemed to lose his resolve. Please reconsider. We were in love. You know that's not why you want to continue the marriage, I retorted. What do you mean? He asked, confused. You want me to take care of your parents, don't you? I said, raising an eyebrow. They're elderly and seem to have various health issues. You wanted a wife who would look after them, right? Otherwise, the responsibility would fall solely on you as their only son. Harry stood there, stunned, clearly not expecting me to confront him with this. He started, but his voice trailed off. Suddenly, his expression hardened. Fine. If that's how you feel, then you're coming back with me, right now. No way, I said firmly. Why should I take care of your parents? They have nothing to do with me anymore. Shut up, Harry shouted. I'm taking you home, no matter what. Do you think you can threaten me? I countered. I'm serious, I'm not coming with you. As Harry continued to argue, a man appeared behind him. I looked at the newcomer, startled. The man addressed Harry, his tone authoritative. "What do you mean by what you just said, sir?" "Huh? Who are you?" Harry asked, confused. The man flashed a badge. "I'm sorry for the intrusion. I'm a police officer, patrolling this area undercover. I can call for help right now if that would make things easier," the officer said. No, thank you," Harry stammered. "Are you stalking this woman?" the officer asked. No, I'm her husband," Harry replied. "Her husband? But it sounds like there's trouble here," the officer said, glancing at me. "He's my ex-husband," I interjected. "We're divorced and he's been stalking me." What are you saying?" Harry protested. The officer turned to him. "Can you please explain what's going on? I'd like you to come to the station with me." "No way," Harry said, panicking. "I just wanted to talk. I'll come another time." With that, Harry fled in a panic. "Mitch, are you okay?" I asked, still shaken. "You surprised me, Jade," Mitch said. "I didn't expect you to turn up like this." Mitch, a police officer, was an old friend from childhood. He had recently been assigned to the station nearby. "I'm glad you were patrolling," I said. "Thanks," Mitch replied. "I actually received a call from your mom." "Huh?" I looked inside the house to see my mom smiling at me. "She lives alone, so I was worried," Mitch explained. "I decided to check in on her from time to time." "I didn't know," I said, touched. "We planned to surprise you when you came back," Mitch said with a smile. We moved to the living room and talked about everything that had happened. I filled Mitch in on the situation with Harry. Mitch advised me to file a restraining order, which I did immediately. This allowed me to completely sever ties with Harry and his family. By the way, a mutual friend mentioned that Harry's parents are now struggling with severe back and leg pain, and Harry is juggling caring for them with his job. He's unable to remarry and is stuck managing his parents' needs while working. Serves him right, I thought. As for me, I'm thriving in my work and there's been a wonderful development. I've married my childhood friend, Mitch. We're now happily living together with my mother. The in-laws were unbelievable. It wasn't just that they were old and out of touch. It was their complete lack of empathy. "I can't believe Harry didn't even stand up for me," I said. "I'm glad Jade found someone who truly understands her." Mitch added, "Congratulations to her. I hope she finds lasting happiness with her family," he continued. "Thanks for sticking around until the end," Mitch said. "Please subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video. See you next time."